What's up, everybody? Welcome back to. I bumped my microphone right as I started doing that. Let me try that again.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no, I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Kamen Riders. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined by
Toby Tobes.
Toby. Thanks for coming back. We're here to talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 4. How you doing?
Pretty good, but I have two things to point out to you before we even get started.
Let's do it.
Number one, as we've discussed and agreed upon, I'm going to try to think of a better name of the show every week.
Oh God, we're still doing this. Oh no. Okay.
Josh, I've committed.
Wait. I need a moment. All right, I've mentally prepared. Let's do it.
All right. So, as you know from years of podcasting and overanalyzing things with me, there comes a time, like 3 or 4 times a year, where for whatever reason I get super sick, lose my voice, cough, sneeze the entire time.
Right.
And that time is back.
Good. I mean, not good,
exactly.
but, you know.
Fantastic.
I mean, we're back to where we were, yeah.
We're back to where we were. The planets are once again aligning. My health is becoming a mess. But that's why the show should be called instead Cure for the Common Cold.
Okay,
I made you laugh. Fuck yeah.
That's better than last one. Yeah, no, that one's good. Cure for the KAMEN cold. That's I like that one. Yeah, that's a contender. That's going to be one of those ones where, like, right now I'm like, okay, that's pretty silly. Then I'm going to be laying in bed tonight and I'm going to be like, God damn it, that was good. Like, that should be the name of the show. It's just going to grow on me, I think.
So as an aside, I'm going to keep track of all the names I come up with as we go.
Yeah.
So as our season finale, we're going to go over all the names I came up with.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, that's great. we can truly decide what the ultimate name. Maybe that's season 2. Maybe when we choose our next season to watch, that we have the new name that you've come up with over the course of our season.
I can't wait until somehow Cure for the Common Cold is like the winner. And then everyone like downloads the podcast looking for some like medical help, and we're like, and then Geats put the driver on and went boost mode, and everything went crazy.
We'll just watch the season that it's the video game medical drama season.
Jesus Christ.
We'll talk about that show I was telling you about that's super video gamey. He's also a doctor in that show.
I think we have to watch that one next no matter what.
It's pretty good. I've watched, like I said, I think most of it, but not all of it. So there would still be some that's new to me.
Okay.
Yeah. You mentioned getting sick, and you were telling me earlier that like you hadn't really been sick much lately, and then you were sick again now. Have you considered that maybe you're just allergic to me?
You know what? I never actually thought about that. But like
Right?
you said, now that we're doing things again, and magically I'm getting sick again.
Right.
Somehow you must be passing germ waves through microphones and headphones.
I think I am.
And it's just going straight into my brain. Yeah,
for sure. I watched the movie Prince of Darkness last night, and I don't know if you've seen that. It's a Carpenter movie, a John Carpenter movie. That's his first name, right? John? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big horror guy, but I watched Prince of Darkness last night, and if you haven't seen that movie, spoilers for a movie from the 80s, but it's a movie where basically the gist is they're at a church, and there's a jar of Satan in the basement. And there's a concept in this film where there's like God and anti-God. There's good and like anti-good, like pure evil. And like, I think that, I think there's Toby and anti-Toby. And I think I might be anti-Toby, and I'm making you sick. I think that's what it is.
That's fine. That's pretty fun. I'm glad there's like actually just like someone in my life that's literally just supposed to be the anti-me.
It really, it's very empowering, right? If you think about it. like I am so important that there's the yang to my yin out there.
Love it.
We also this morning we're talking a little bit about fan subbing too. I thought we might start the episode and do a little fan subbing history, because I find it kind of interesting, the drama that's gone on in the fan subbing community. So you were saying you have a friend who's kind of watching along with us, right?
I do. They have confirmed that this is a wonderful podcast and that we should keep doing it. But there was a hot discussion because so when we did episode 3, you and I broke down the scoreboard for like
Right.
team kills or whatever and all that stuff. And she was like, "How the hell did you two even figure out what the scoreboard said?" So she sent me a screenshot, and I sent you a screenshot of what we saw. And I guess depending on the subgroup, like we're watching like the super fancy one that breaks it down hardcore so we can just understand things.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that she found just has like pure like vocalized translation only. And of course, like the words are way different. Like our one scene sounds way nicer than hers sounded way more dramatic. Like, oh, if you fail, the game ends for you, for us. And hers was like, you fucking die when you lose.
You're right. Yeah, so I think that's it's really interesting, kind of the differences between the translations. And I kind of touched on that in one of our earlier episodes too, is like it's kind of fun, like sometimes downloading both versions and seeing how like the tone changes just in like the words they use when they translate. So we are using again it no real secret because the group kind of ties their name to these releases, so I think it's okay if we use their actual name, but we use subs from Overtime. That's kind of the subgroup that does the subs that you and I watch. And like you said, they tend to be like the fancier ones. They'll add graphics when they need to be, like the scoreboard for all the scores, and like they'll translate like the fake Twitch chat, that pops up and says poggers for no reason. And Overtime, like historically, has been the subgroup that has the reputation for kind of being the most like colloquial when they translate. So like they try to make the language feel the most real life, even if it isn't like strictly 100%. This is exactly the words they said. Where I think the other subs you were looking at are maybe a bit more literal, I guess, as that front goes. Now, Overtime and this other group are like kind of the main two groups that are subbing Kamen Rider right now. There's like I think maybe a couple others bouncing around that are doing like anonymous subs that aren't maybe even doing every episode. But years ago, there was a group called TV-nihon that was like the big, huge main subbing group. That did Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. Like every year, it was always like they were the ones. You went there, you got both of them. Overtime existed, but like they were a little bit lesser. Well, there's a producer of Super Sentai, works for Toei, who owns Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and is on Twitter. And one time, a couple years ago, there were a bunch of English fans asking this producer questions like about Kamen Rider and about Super Sentai. And everyone thinks that because the English speaking fans were asking questions, it led to like dominoes falling. It led to TV-nihon, the big subbing group, getting a cease and desist from Toei to stop producing fan subs and stop releasing the shows that are coming out. So it had kind of been a thing that like very clearly like was on the radar, I think, of Toei for a very long time, because like how could it not be? There were people in the West like buying the toys and like talking about it online, and like clearly it was a thing they were getting somehow. But there were tweets that basically the producer, someone was like, "What do you think about the fan base in the West?" And the producer was like, "I don't believe there is a Kamen Rider fan base in the West." And so, someone kind of like pressed him on it. And then a couple years later, someone mentioned again, like, "Hey, I love your show," like, and asking in English, saying like, "Hey, I love Kamen Rider Saber." And the producer replied back and said, "We're not supposed to know why you could watch those shows if you live in the West." So those two things, and then the cease and desist happened. So like the fan subbing community has kind of gone underground since then. So TV-nihon, which was this big, huge, massive group, like basically doesn't do any subbing anymore for the most part. Like they release the commercials that came out between Kamen Rider and Super Sentai every week. Like that's what they sub now.
Gotcha.
So like it's been this big, huge shakeup in the kind of fan sub world. But it's interesting now because Kamen Rider is kind of coming over in an official capacity more and more. So like on like there's like streaming services that have Kamen Rider Kuga now where you can watch it. They put out Kamen Rider 01 on Blu-ray just a little bit ago. So like they're getting more and more real ways to watch Kamen Rider in the US. So it's kind like all of Toku and kind of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider are becoming a lot like kind of it's sort of going through the transition that anime went through. Like I don't know, maybe 7 or 10 years ago, where like now we have like Crunchyroll and everything comes out like day and date in the US, and sometimes it's coming out on the same day and it's like dubbed, not even subtitled. I hope we're moving in that direction. I think with the Toku stuff, but it's very much like in its infancy. And people were very big mad when the cease and desist went out, and there was no like legal way to watch the shows because they just kind of took away the illegal way that everyone had to watch the shows, and then didn't really have an alternative. So yeah, there's still groups out there like Overtime that are still doing it, but are just kind of being a little bit more on the down low about it.
I gotcha.
But
my only input to this is that I think I would rather watch it with subtitles no matter what, instead of them doing stupid Americanized voices for the people.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm always that way when it comes to like foreign things that are live action. So like I never really want to watch a dubbed live action. Anime once in a while I'll watch a dub, but for the most part, even anime, I'm all in on the subs.
So my big realization of this is, so I've played since like we'll call it COVID, I guess, is a nice delineator of time. So
it is from now on. Yeah.
So during COVID and the preceding months, I've played all of the Yakuza games, like literally all the ones I possibly could. So nice. 0 through 7 right now. 7, like what's now called Like a Dragon. So I'm gonna correct myself before someone corrects us. They're all called Like a Dragon now because Yakuza's too Japanese, I guess, or some other dumb bullshit. But Like a Dragon started with English voice acting over the characters. And I was like, this sounds so fucking dumb and stupid. I cannot stand this. After playing all the other games in like just Japanese with me reading subtitles.
Yeah.
And then I found that they can switch it to Japanese voices, and like the main character was instantly like 20 times better to me. And it just seems like that's one of the things where like that's the vibe I need. Like even though everyone gives me a hard time that I can't read, that's like ongoing lore for me in my life. I would rather try to read subtitles and have the cool Japanese voices than have like the weird nerdy Americans try to do like, I'm gonna come get you now, and like all that kind of dumb shit.
No, I'm with you. Definitely with you. It also like because yeah, we're nerds, right? And we to some extent, like you're watching these things because you think Japan is cool. So like you might as well go all the way and be all the way immersed in it. I find it really fun too when you pick up like certain words after you watch enough anime and watch enough Toku. like you just know certain words in Japanese just because you've read them and so many times and then heard them. That's always really, really fun to do. But no, I'm the same way. Like you get the original acting intent. Like you get the original read of a line and not the like interpretation of a read of a line that someone else decided where the original director wasn't there and stuff. For sure.
Yeah.
The now I will say there are some pretty good anime like American voice actors who are doing pretty good, but you know, it'd be a long way. It'd be a lot to get me to like switch over from a Kamen Rider series.
And like I said, I hate reading. I somehow whenever I read things, I read it too fast and like just miss tons of keywords and just say the wrong thing afterwards. But I would rather suffer with that and trying to watch like a cartoon or a Kamen Rider or something than just have like them like talk to me like me, I guess is the best way to put it.
Don't sound like me. Ugh.
Yeah, that's so annoying.
The funny thing about the Yakuza games, the Like a Dragon games,
thank you.
When the first Yakuza game came out, when it was actually called Yakuza, like you said, they did the English voice actors, and they got like big actors to be in that game too. Like I can't remember exactly who, but I remember there were like big names that you would have heard about that are from like movies that were in that game. And then I feel like they very quickly like reeled that back in of like, no, we're just gonna let you do the Japanese voices because that's cheaper and that's what people want to do anyway. It was a good pivot. It was a smart pivot, I think, on their part.
Very wise. Very wise.
Also very wise, us talking about Kamen Rider, because that's what we're here to do.
Let's jump in. You're gonna swing it back in real quick.
that was my segue. I steered the segue back into the episode. Kamen Rider Geats episode 4. We are, if you remember, Toby,
before you start, only because
stopping my segue right in the middle of it. All right, go on.
Yeah, you're getting desegged right now. So it was pointed out to me by the superfan. Neon.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. Neon is a cat.
Yeah.
And cat in Japanese, or the cat sound in Japanese, is Nyan, like stupid Nyan cat thing.
Right.
Do you think that's coincidence, or do you think that's on purpose?
Oh, like her name, Nyan. Oh,
yeah.
that has to be on purpose. Yeah.
Boom.
Now
I'm helping.
That's good. There was a moment in this episode where her mom says her name that does kind of sound like Nyan, even like, yeah, it's interesting. I wonder what her name is in the Japanese. I wonder if it literally is just cat. Cat, come here. Anyway, we are in the midst.
Now we can start. Let's get the episode going.
In the midst of a zombie apocalypse, and your precious Neon is turning into a zombie, Toby.
She is.
We started this episode.
The cat gene is not helping right now.
No. We started this episode. Keiwa is doing one of his Sarah, if you're watching vlogs. So he's recording on his phone. We find out that they're actually for his sister, which is good this time. We were speculating that last time. And while he's on the phone, he kind of hears Neon. She calls her mom to kind of say, hey, I'm staying at a friend's house. And then she collapses. So she's not doing good.
I guess it makes sense. But there's such a weird disconnect in general that it seems like they are out of... I know they're still in the world, but like out of the world. So it seems weird that when she's like Desire Grand Prixing, that she can still call home. Or like remotely... like float the idea of a phone call, especially when Keiwa is not supposed to like be vlogging to anybody in general.
Yeah, I had that exact same thought. I'm like, oh my gosh, how's the phone connect? I was like, oh, it's because she's just in the world somewhere, probably still. Like, yeah, like I had been picturing them as in like a separate plane that they had to be transported to, but no, they're just apparently in some remote location.
Well, yeah, they're floating in that little sky city ish / whatever super mega tower they're probably hanging out in.
I think that was just a platform, just a disc that's up in the air somewhere. I don't know. Or do you mean the castle that was on the monster from the first episode?
I don't know. Like, I know they go on that stupid platform for like prep talks. I'm sure it's tied to something, right?
I don't know. It looks like it just kind of floats. I think I don't know how they really get up there. There's some sort of teleportation that happens, right? Because they just appear there. That's what they really need to show us. Show us the teleporter. That seems cool.
We need as much like inside lore as possible.
Exactly. Tell me how this all works.
How do they get there?
So Neon collapses. She does the kind of selfless thing. She tells Keiwa not to touch her. He says there's no real time for that. And then Mary shows up and says, let's go for a walk, little kitten.
Like automatically going to like super creeper mode from like weird super fan to like hardcore creeper talking down to our girl.
Absolutely. That dude is all over the place. And yeah, continues to like take things weirdly lightly. But they decide to tie up the two people that have been bitten. So Neon and the panda boy, Dapan, they're gonna tie him up just in case they turn. So I found that to be pretty interesting. Like their goal was basically keep them tied up because it sounded like they maybe would turn like even between rounds and stuff. So they weren't really sure. And
they came up with probably one of the better lines from this episode that almost sounds like a weird chant, like if it was like a rally. They said, "People with bites don't deserve rights," and I can just see that on like placards. Like if the zombie outbreak was real, and they're like, "No, but zombies are still people; they're okay." Like there'd definitely be assholes outside screaming like, "People with bites don't deserve rights," like over and over.
Yeah, it's on a white sign in a picket line. That's perfect. Obviously Buffa wants to kill them right away. He says, hey, if you don't want those points, I'll take them. Keiwa stops him. I thought that was a cool moment from Keiwa. Buffa's like, ready to strike him down. Keiwa like does a quick transform and is like right in Buffa's face, kind of pushing him backwards. Like it was very aggressive for Keiwa.
He's getting more adult like.
Yeah. He's doing the thing that I wanted, which is just not being a helpless idiot for multiple episodes. He's still himself, but he's playing along. He's killing zombies. He's protecting his friends. I feel like he grew a lot in this episode too. Overall, I feel like this was a real banger episode, by the way. So I guess spoilers for my thoughts at the end, but I really liked everything we were getting here. Geats says there's no killing yet because you're not a full zombie. So he's like not worth it. He plays his cool Geats card and he's like, listen, I'd kill you, but it's not even worth it because you're not a zombie yet. I'm not gonna get points for it.
And not only that, but like it, I think Gears of War is the main one that did it. Like any game where you can like put someone in a down or prone status and not just like kill them right away.
Yeah,
is always like the biggest like dickhead move in any of these kind of games. Where it's just like
just let them crawl around.
You lost, but you're not going to lose for another like 2 minutes. So you're just going to sit here and watch us taunt you and teabag you just to show you that we won, but not really. And
that is what this kind of feels like. At this point, Neon kind of says like, I guess this is where we say goodbye. She had a line here that I loved. She said like, I don't want to bite anyone, but like, I don't want to get tied up either. Which is the most quintessential Neon way to view this. She says she thought she might run away from home, but now that she might die, she can't stop thinking about going back. KY says people don't die that easily, which is that's not a line to say. People die pretty easily, KY. You just saw someone get bit by a zombie. Like that's going to be a pretty easy death. Geats here is he's seeming pretty sad about this whole Neon bite thing when it's just him and Keiwa and Neon. Like he seems concerned.
I think he's finally stepping up and learning that there's more to life than being the star of the star of the stars. He wants to be a person now. I think that's really what his Batman arc is taking sweet effect, and he's finally catching up with like actually being a human being a little bit as well.
Yeah, he still puts on like the tough guy attitude, but it's very clear he's friends with Neon now. Like this is the episode where I think their friendship like cemented.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially as we get later into it.
Oh yeah. We get a good speech here that I think it's sort of a it's the thesis, I guess, maybe of the show, sort of. Geats says that desires are worth the effort we put in to make them come true, which I feel like is really what the whole Desire Grand Prix is about. It's kind of what like Keiwa and Geats and Neon seem like they're fighting for, like putting their all in to get what they want, kind of is sort of the theme.
Yeah, and in that same scene, it's when they go back into like the lounge, right?
Yeah.
So at one point, one of them says as well, it's because the things we want are worth the risk. Yeah. And I just found that funny considering that Panda was wishing for everybody to die.
Yeah, his motivations aren't quite as pure, but I guess he'd risk his own life to give up his own life to kill everyone.
and that's a hell of a stance too, to be honest with you. Like that's sure, certainly. That's like a pure evil, perfect supervillain motto. Like I'm gonna die, but so are you, so we're cool.
Yeah, it's very Joker-like. It doesn't. It's the Pyrrhic victory. Like I've won, but at what cost? At this point, they send everybody home. So the third round is going to be a little bit longer than anticipated. Third wave, I guess. Send everybody home, and we get some home life and backstory from Neon here. So
before you hit the backstory there, I find it really odd that they would send Neon home as a zombie.
Me too. So yeah, they didn't tie her up in the room, like kind of, right? Like they had that kind of back and forth of we should tie you up, ended up not tying her up. And yeah, just send her home. Like she could turn into a zombie at any moment.
And bite more people, and then
yeah. Cause it's not, we found out it's not contained to just like while they're playing the game. The zombies are just kind of zombies forever. So no, they just go home, you bite your mom, no big deal. She does rally the strength to make it home, though. Like she was collapsing in the lounge, but she's she's heading home with no issues, I guess.
That's always good. That's all that matters.
It's good for her. She finds out that all of her videos have been deleted off of her YouTube account. Her bodyguards,
a pain that we feel way too hard.
It did, yeah, definitely. It's probably because she was watching Power Rangers and putting up episode commentaries. That was probably her problem.
Damn it.
She finds out that she had been found basically because her mom had been tracking her via GPS. So it wasn't just that she'd been streaming. It was that she literally had a tracker on her. And then her mom just slaps the shit out of her.
And it had a good noise too. Like, it had the good audio dubbing, whatever, Foley work, I think is the right word.
It was
like solid. It was just like, whoosh, like gunshot crack across the face.
It was crisp. And Neon just hits the ground. Like she buckles under this slap. That mom is not messing around when it comes to those slaps. That one, like, it took me by surprise. I think I gasped sitting here on the computer watching that slap. And then, as I mentioned, backstory. So we find out sort of kind of why the mom is so protective. So despite the fact that we just saw the mom just completely rock her daughter, we do humanize the mom a little bit, because we find out that the reason she is the way she is because it appears that Neon had been kidnapped for ransom when she was a young child. Like, we get a super brief scene where someone's calling and demanding money, and like a young Neon is standing there. So obviously, like a rich family, she'd been targeted, and the mom is super protective now, obviously, from that event.
And as you know, the lashing out is obviously the way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to push your daughter away if you really want to make sure she stays safe.
And so, not a video game tie-in, but did you ever watch Black Mirror?
No, not really.
Okay, so all the stories are based, not all of them, but most of the stories are like, hey, there's technology, but technology fucks you up kind of twists, like every episode. So there is an episode of Black Mirror called Archangel, and it's basically a GPS tracker you put in your child at birth. And it's an app that the parents can watch, but it's not just like a GPS tracker. It's pretty much like you see out your kid's eyes, you can see all their life stats, their entire life and everything.
Yeah.
And I get pretty much the same vibe from Neon's mom. But all I could think of is like, she is like the prime candidate for the Archangel thing, which is basically like follow your child their entire life, always know where they are, and never let them do anything they want to.
Yeah, she definitely would be. And you know, like you kind of feel for this moment, this scene is interesting because you hate her instantly. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what are you doing? Then you like find out why she is the way she is, and you feel for her a little bit, and you're like, oh wow, okay, like. Yeah, I get it. Like, it makes sense that you're protective. Like, I get why you would want to make sure you know where she is and protect her from that stuff. And then Neon, like, twists the knife. Like, she says, like, I'm not one of your creepy dolls. And then
his mom does have a lot of creepy dolls.
She does have a lot of creepy dolls. Neon has a point there. And then the mom says, like, please just stay with me. I'll give you anything that you want. And Neon says, there's nothing here that I could ever want. Like that exchange like turned me from like hating the mom to being like, oh no, the mom's sad.
She broke her with one comment.
Really, like we talked about how much we kind of were starting to like Neon as a character, but this episode really made Neon my favorite of the show, I think.
Oh yeah.
This scene was awesome. Like, you find out like kind of what she went through as a kid, and she still is as sort of like empowered and independent, I guess, as she is right now. Where like that probably would have broken a lot of people. So she runs away. She sneaks away again. Like, the second we cut, she's throwing her bags out the window. She's sneaking away. And as she climbs over kind of her fence, she gets outside of her big house. Keiwa is there, and so is Ace, leaning up against the wall. She kind of sees them, and Ace says, I'm just here for the points in case you turn. And she goes, yeah, that tracks.
And then along with that, Keiwa does his normal Keiwa, oh, it'll be okay, life's good, blah, blah, blah. And she hits him with one of my other favorites. She says, stop just saying nice things. It doesn't help.
Oh, God. Yeah, I wrote that down, too. So there's a lot about this whole scene that made me, again, love Neon. And it it fleshed out the relationship, I think, with all three of them really, really well. So like Ace is there, like he's trying to play it cool, like I'm just gonna kill you if you turn, but like he's there to help her. He's part of the crew. He's completely bought in. And yeah, Keiwa like hits her with these like stupid platitudes, like it's whatever. And yeah, she says nice things don't always help. Like it was awesome. Like, and it really hammers home why it's clear kind of like she was initially closer to Ace than to Keiwa, even though he's the nice one. I'm just like, yeah, because Ace kind of tells it like it is. Like, he's the one who's the realist here.
Yeah, she wants the stoic defender. She doesn't want the quote unquote good guy who'll just be like, oh, it's fine, oh, it'll be okay. She wants like the rugged badass who can actually like probably protect her and not just say stupid things when the time comes.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it was like, people are pretty hard to die. Not helping, Keiwa. You're the worst.
And like my favorite, like her other dramatic line in this was they're all talking about life and things, and she goes, "I guess God never loved me."
I wrote that line down too. Guess God never loved me. Before that, so that was like a funny dramatic line. Before that, I thought that like we had a moment of genuine, really amazing acting on her part, because she tries to play it cool for a second. Like she shows up, she sees them, and she kind of like turns away, and they talk about her turning, right? And she turns away and she says, "I've never felt more alive, actually." And she says, "The Desire Grand Prix sure is something, huh?" And like she tries to make it sound fun, and then she kind of like she bursts out crying like silently, and then like she kind of like lets out a little like yelp kind of as she's tearing up. And I thought that was like that was really actually impressive, because she tries to put on a strong face and then like breaks down. And yeah, that's where she hits the like God never loved me. And yeah, it was cool to kind of see like those cracks, I guess, in her outer exterior. But yeah, we get them together. We don't really find out much of like why they kind of showed up to see her at that point. But then we're back, and the next wave is beginning. They say the job's to kill all the zombies. And
just like always.
Yep, doesn't matter who they are, we're killing them, whether they've turned or not. Buffa, however, has the Magnum buckle. That's a little suspicious.
It is suspicious.
Geats is wondering why. I thought it was interesting here. Keiwa's just like, he's shooting. He's like, he's ready. He's working. He wasn't just kind of standing around.
Yeah, he's fine. And I guess part of it, I would have to assume at this point, is so. Well, let's presume at the end of this, Neon's with somebody. She finds her soulmate, dreamboat, whatever. Odds are right now it would be Ace, but if Keiwa's going to step up and be a man and start shooting things and actually start playing the game, maybe he's trying to impress her as well, where he's like, I need to fight for her so she knows that I care and not just hide and save hostages and get the points that way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think there's a moment in this episode later that makes me think it might be Keiwa. I think he's the front runner if we're gonna have a romantic entanglement between two of these three. We see Mary attempt to save some construction workers, and I say attempt because it takes 3 minutes for him to kill like 2 zombies, and he barely gets the job done, it seems.
He just kind of like stumbles into them, and then just like, oh, you guys are here. What are you guys doing here? I guess leave. And just kind of like holds his shield up until they run, which I guess counts as a save.
I guess so. Yeah. He pushes the zombies off into the woods. He kind of falls in after them, and there's like a quick pop-up that's like 3 minutes later. He kind of stumbles back out of the woods. Yeah, because at this point he still just has the shield. He doesn't really have any offensive weapons, so he's mostly been going around being loud and attempting to push people with the shield, which is great. However, things turn a little south for him at this point because he gets bitten. The zombie Dupin shows back up and just starts gnawing on Mary.
He started biting me.
Yeah, he says he started biting me. I thought like my favorite part of this is like everyone runs up, and the panda kind of stands up and like wipes the mouth of his mask. It's like, oh, that was yummy. Like, let's not really think too hard about the fact that he was biting him through the big Kamen Rider headgear, but so we get our first view of kind of like zombie Dupont here. I really like the eye effect that they do to show that they're turning into kind of the zombie version of themselves.
So if they did it for Panda, I missed it.
Oh,
but
they do, yeah.
I did notice it on Neon shortly after the scene, where I was like, one of the notes I had down here was like, when she starts getting a little more zombied, it puts like a cool like crackle swirl effect into her eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. Like it's cool that I guess the eyes are more interactive. Like it's not just like a shield lens. It's more like part of their outfit or part of them ish, we'll call it.
Yeah, it certainly is like is tied to their being in some way. And it's really fast. It's kind of hard to see on him, but yeah, when he first shows up, his eyes are definitely like that, and like his are kind of like fully formed over at that point. Like very covered. You can definitely tell that he's nearly zombie at this point. He drops the knowledge that he tells us he made a deal with the seasoned vet over there, and turns out that he gave Buffa the Magnum buckle. And in exchange, Buffa kind of fake tied him up. So that's why he's not tied up in that dark room in the lounge anymore. Buffa pretended to tie him up and took the Magnum buckle in exchange. So they've been double crossed, sort of, by Buffa.
The whole Desire Grand Prix does seem like a hard enough thing, where having your own team turn against you when in theory the odds are like 100-6. It does seem like extra aggravating that like there's already 100 zombie things trying to bite you and eat you, and then your idiot friends are like trying to shoot you in the back at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem great. And you know, I know Buffa's whole thing is like all Kamen Riders are my enemy, and he just wanted the Magnum buckle. He just wanted the good buckle, but it doesn't seem like that was in his best interest. Like, because really the panda's going to turn soon. If he had actually tied him up, that's just like one more zombie off the field he didn't have to deal with. Like, I don't really know what he gained out of having to deal with this zombie trying to kill everyone now, other than chaos. Like, he just gained chaos out of it, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of chaos, Neon shows up at this point. She does kind of a triumphant entrance. Does her big show up. She starts wailing on things, and I thought it was adorable. After Ace gave her some coaching about like, you aim for the zombie's head, she was hitting zombies and going, the head. So she learned from the training, which is pretty great. As she's wailing away, we get kind of a flashback to outside Neon's house. So we go back to the exchange with her and K1 and Ace. And we find out that there's more they don't know about the Giamato. Turns out, as Ace tells her, the damage that the Giamato do is reset after each round, and that includes the zombification process. So basically, Ace tells her, like, are you willing to roll the dice that we can kind of finish this round before you turn full zombie? And that clearly is what they decide to do. She's there ready to fight. Keiwa tells her, if you died, my sister would be really sad. And she says, but not you? And he says, I would be too, obviously.
And he gives her the boost buckle, though. That was right?
Exactly. Yeah, he hands off the boost buckle at that point. He said, you take this.
So now we're 4 episodes in where he's had the boost buckle and has not once used it.
Correct.
It's usually a gift or a stolen gift or a, hey, fool, you let me borrow it, but you can only use it once gift or whatever. He's yet to actually use it, but gets it every time.
Yeah, he just always has it, and he just can give it away and lose it, or just be completely taken for it. But yeah, in this case, he gives it away freely to help Neon out. And this was the exchange I thought that made me think, like, okay, I think Keiwa and Neon might be the pairing, because that was just too darn cute. The like, my sister would be sad, but not you. I would be too.
You gotta play it cool, because again, he's learning from Geats. He's learning that maybe I should be a little more suave and not so nerdy. And Giving smooth lines. It's very "I love you, I know" from Star Wars.
It truly is. Yeah, he definitely he watched some Han Solo in his off time. I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna be cool. Speaking of Neon getting the boost buckle, like I love that we got to see her rock the boost buckle, because this was like a really, really cool fight. Like she does these like just sick ass kicks. She goes like full badass here after she turns on the boost buckle and becomes Boost Nago. At one point, she's literally just flying across the map. Like she has the boost on her legs and she's just flying. I think it's Kawa who like kind of grabs her by the arm and like spins her and like sends her off again in the other direction.
Yeah,
It
like,
is cool. It's really cool.
Scrolling through the time while we're talking about this, it looks like it was about like 3 to 3.5 minutes of Neon going nuts and just wrecking shop on everybody.
Yeah.
So like anything she did would look super cool. Like her transformation when she jumped off the roof and like flipped onto the driver platform to morph was awesome. She has some crazy chainsaw foot kick thing, which I'm pretty sure is from like Devil May Cry or one of those kind of games. I just can't place it.
Yeah, it probably is exactly from that. Like ripped off exactly. I love that she got like her big badass moment, because I feel like we'd been building to this for the first 4 episodes. Like she's this like super one-dimensional character. She's looking for a soulmate, and we've been kind of fleshing her out over these episodes, and now she finally gets like her big showing. It was really cool.
And one of the other, like during that fight, the cool assist was when Geats used Zombie. Like it did some crazy move where like zombie hands came out of the ground and grabbed all the actual zombies' legs. And that's when Neon did the crazy like super flying power knee and just like wiped the whole floor.
That was kind of cool too, because it like the zombie arms like kind of went up around her and then didn't grab her. Like there was like a moment where like they thought about it. You could tell, which was kind of neat. It's like, yeah, you're almost a zombie, but now we'll grab the real zombies. Yeah, she turns into like there's a moment. I don't think she actually got larger, but they do a shot where it looked like she was like 2 stories tall.
Yes.
Which I really thought was funny. And yeah, she does the big boost hammer and just wipes out the entire row of zombies. She's come a long way since she didn't know to hit them in the head. That clears the round. She's healed. So their big gamble paid off. But unfortunately, so is Dupont. He's also healed, and Mary is too. Mary's all good at this point.
So now Dupont can go back to his ultimate goal of killing everybody along with himself.
Yep.
And of course, when Neon finished boost driving and it fired off like the crazy rocket it always does, it once again hits Kawa in the face, because why wouldn't it hit Kawa again? That's also the running joke with him.
I forgot. It actually like knocked him down, I think, if I remember right. Like I think it smacked him and it just he actually fell down. That's great. I totally forgot that happened. That's a really dumb thing, the boost buckle flying off like that, but I love that that's consistent. That's really, really great. Neon thanks Kawa and Ace. Kawa says, "Hey, it was all you." Geats, however, reminds us that it's not over. Like the game, this round was that the lowest ranked player was going to be ousted, and we get the rankings pulled up, and it's Dupont. Sorry, Panda Boy. Geats has a great like hero line where he's like, "Hey, there's hope for anyone who doesn't give up."
Yeah, I just had him listed. Oh, he also tells him too, like, if you wouldn't have tried to be in our way, you would have won.
Yeah. Which is great. Like for someone who like kind of has been at odds with the other Kamen Riders off and on, like it's hilarious Geats saying that. But yeah, it's kind of showing like he's coming around on the team. he's realizing he's going to be a bit more of a team player this time, I think.
And then so once they realize that he's leaving, the boss lady comes back and she says, like, his driver buckle thing falls to the ground. She says, "You're no longer qualified to be a rider." So now this is a question for you. Does that mean that it's just like a morality thing where in general, like, you lost, so you're not good enough of a person to be a rider? Or is it saying that, like, so he failed, obviously, and if the world wipes, does it just mean like he doesn't get another chance to be a rider again? Like you never get to play the rider game again? Or is it
Yeah,
like a third option I'm not thinking of?
I was gonna ask you what you thought about that line too, because so we found out early on, like if you die, like the people respawning thing at the end of the game doesn't apply to the Kamen Riders. So like he should be just dead, I think, right? Or is that only if like Giamoto kills you or something? I wonder.
So I guess that would be part of it too. Then, like, he didn't die. Like, so if the hard line is if you die for real, which is what prompted the questions of like, well, can you wish him back or what happens? Like, if he just lost and he gets nicely teleported out, I would assume it just means you can't play anymore, but you go back to normal life, and you probably just get like the brain reset wipe thing where you don't know you did it.
Maybe. I kind of hope he's just dead. I don't want that guy running around in real life. Like, he's a psychopath. Dude got a broken leg and decided to end humanity. We don't want him around.
That is true. That's very fair.
I did think that the way that they emphasized and the way they played that he's no longer qualified to be a Kamen Rider did make it seem like it was something special with him. Like, yeah, like maybe because he turned against them or something. I don't know. It was interesting. She also said that like when it popped up, it was like retired. it's how they had listed it. Like not dead. He's retired. He went off to he went off up north to the farm where all the old Kamen Riders go. But yeah, certainly it'll be interesting to see if we see him again. Because yeah, hopefully he's gone, but like he played a big part here. Maybe he'll show back up in future rounds somehow or something. We definitely we're gonna have some more shenanigans happen. There's a lot more episodes.
Yeah.
We get some like closing scenes here at the end of the episode. We get Neon heading back home again, and she kind of says to herself like, so the real final boss is, and then like it cuts off. What is she talking about? What happened in her experience that makes her think something is a real final boss? I'm so confused. That seems so out of left field.
I don't know. I guess because like remotely there's bosses for the dumb fights, and obviously she meant her mom at that point. Like that made sense. That made sense to me as she was saying like, I'm back home. I disappeared again. Mom's gonna come give me shit. So she was like prepping herself mentally, like, okay, the real final boss is what I'm actually going to deal with now, not so much the game stuff.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. She blocks her mom's slap this time. Her mom rolls up and just goes in for another slap, which felt like you can't go back to the well again on the slap that quickly. I feel like at some point, if you're slapping your kid like again that fast, that's just child abuse. Let's just calm down.
So like the first one was shocking, and we were like, oh shit, I can't believe she did that. When she came home and like made the boss comment, I was already prepared for her mom's going to throw a second one and she's going to stop it. So pretty much her doing it was just like, I saw this coming. Like that was actually one of the few things I actually saw coming.
Nice. Yeah, her mom was just deciding just to throw some blows. Neon blocks, like you said, and then she says, "One day I'll leave for good." So she is bound and determined to get out of this house
with her soulmate, probably.
Yeah, whoever that may be. Who knows? We get a little scene again with the mysterious man in the mask who we were kind of missing last episode, and we find out the showdown is destined to approach between Geats and Buffa. The two of them are gonna butt heads, and that ends our episode. Like I said, I thought this one was a banger. I really, really liked everything that we got in it. I thought that the wrap up of the zombie stuff was like kind of the direction I thought it was going to go, but like we kind of talked about predictions for it last episode, and like pretty much what we were expecting, I think, but still was satisfying, and it gave us time to see some awesome Neon action. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, yeah, she's definitely moving herself up the rankings now of like solid, cool ass characters. Keiwa's still slowly moving down because he's the weird nerdy kid that doesn't seem like he fits in with this stuff, but that's fine.
Yeah, he's still there. he's definitely getting better for me. So it's interesting. The three of them. So Neon and Kawa and Ace. That trio is reminding me a lot. There's a series called Kamen Rider Zio, and there's a trio of kind of main characters in that show, which is Tsukuyomi. Sogo is kind of the main Kamen Rider Zio, and Gates is another Kamen Rider. So it's kind of the same thing. It's two guys and a girl, and it is a super idealistic main guy, which would be Kawa in our case, with a seeming tough guy who actually is friendly and nice at heart, which is Ace, with a girl who is actually the secret toughest of all of them. That's the dynamic in Zio, and that seems like they're setting up for that being the exact dynamic here as well. And if that's the case, like, I really hope they lean into that, because that was my favorite aspect of Zio as a show. So setting up that and like pairing up the three of those as like a Scooby-Doo-esque team, I'm very into that as a concept.
There you
go. Any other final thoughts for our episode 4 here?
No, I'm just, as long as the games keep progressing, I think that's my personal goal. I don't want to like dwell on like one person or like one thing too much. So as long as like we keep going, like at least it's a wave an episode or like a game and a half an episode kind of thing. It's definitely progressing nicely. It's cool to see Neon be a badass, from like weird Twitch streamer girl to like possible almost strongest in the group when she gets motivated properly.
Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, it seems like we're gonna get like about, I don't know, maybe half a round per episode or like a third of a round per episode.
Yeah,
vaguely.
probably something like yeah. Well, especially in the beginning too. Like I know part of this, all of it, they have to get the backstories for people in.
Yeah.
So obviously, most of these episodes, at least presumably for these first couple, are going to be like, hey, this one's about Geats, and this is why he's half of this, and here's half a game too to keep the story going forward. This was Neon's today. So I'll assume like for the next maybe 2 or 3 will be like one person's lore episode / progressive game forward around kind of thing.
Yeah, I would think, we'll find out about Geats and Buffa and probably Kawa, maybe Mary, but probably not. I bet Mary's not one we dive into too much. But yeah, I think that seems like where they're setting up for this to go. I hope that like the stakes continue to be high. I like that like people are actually getting eliminated. That's good stuff.
Yeah, fun. Yeah. Again, like it's moving or progressing, whatever you want to call it, where things are changing. Like at first, it seemed like, oh, these 5 or 6 people will be here the whole time. Now we at least lost one, so they're not just going to be like this is the same squad the entire time. It's going to keep progressing.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And they're doing a good job of not like hitting you over the head with the backstory. Like they could have, again, this is a kid's show. they could have dwelled on that kidnapping angle with Neon for like minutes if they wanted to, right? Like they could have like really replayed it and like explicitly said that she'd been kidnapped and ransomed. But like that was like a few seconds, and if you missed it or didn't understand it, boom, it's gone. So I'm liking that so far. They're peppering that stuff in, and you really got to kind of pay attention. I hope that type of storytelling continues.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was effective enough in 5 seconds without making it a giant thing.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for our review of Kamen Rider Geats episode 4. If you liked the show, well, hey, we've done 3 others of these because this is episode 4, as I mentioned. So go check those out. You can find those wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. Just search for The Kamen Riders in your favorite podcast app, or you can check out our video version on YouTube. You might be doing that right now. Just search for The Kamen Riders on YouTube, and you can find our playlists there. Or you can follow us on Twitter. Toby, where can the people find you on Twitter?
At Life of Tobes, TOBES.
And we don't shout you out enough. You also have a gaming channel on YouTube. Where's that at?
It's Tobes Plays, again, rather than go by Toby, which is lame and very 2,000 years ago. Gotta go by Tobes. So Tobes plays.
Toby is so 2000 and late.
I was trying to think about how that joke went. The stupid fucking song.
You can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm at PrettyDeceJosh. That's PrettyDeceJosh. So once again, thank you very much for listening. Thank you all for your thoughts and comments and replies so far. It's been awesome. We're happy you're with us. Please stick with us. We'll be back again for episode 5 coming up next. Until then, have a boosty time.
Yay.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic